Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena. We're back with the third episode with our Teamer 1000 Year Storm combo. Still a little bunged up, but mostly ready to go. So without further ado, let's get into some best of three, and I'll see you there. Okay, this hand looks actually pretty good. We got turn 2 as Canter. Any land is going to turn on Sabotage as long as it's untapped, of course. And maybe down the line we actually get Circuitous Root. So yeah, we'll keep this. It's very matchup dependent, of course. If we're up against aggro, then we're just going to lose. But we're not. Okay. Get ourselves another Sabotage. Against the blue deck, that might be good. Blue-red. Ooh. So is it control then? Or is it? I'm a terrible human. Okay. So, my opponent gets to dump a blink of an eye. Okay. Land drop and go. So we want to hit land drops with this search. Everything else could probably go to the graveyard. Wow. Okay. Anticipate for a land drop, please. Almost whiffed. But we didn't. So that's good. Alright. Tap land go. So we got Sinister Sabotages online next turn. My opponent can do whatever he wants this turn, but because he's running Field of Ruin, I think there's a lot of stuff that he can't actually cast right now. And it's probably going to be the case of who can flip their Azcanta first. Oh my god. And who can make their land drops more consistently. I think I've got to take it. I've got to take it, and miss my land drop is pretty grim, to be honest. You got 2 cards in your graveyard as well. We can always mission briefing to mill a load of cards as well. We won't get the actual casting value off of the second half of the card, but we'll get ahead of our opponent on Search for Azcanta and flip ours first. Mission briefing into the graveyard for our opponent. Interesting. So he's got 3 cards, we got 2. I can mission briefing now. Set up the top card. We know he's probably going to Chemist's Insight. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm just going to rely on the power of Search, I think, to give me my land drop right now. Thank you. Alright. And you could get Ral down if I used Root. So I think I'm just going to use Chemist's Insight and Sabotage this turn. I think it's a mistake to try and ramp. Ramping would imply that we're in a rush to go anywhere, which against control is straight up just not the case. Radical idea. Interesting. Okay. Makes me wonder if this is a mirror match. Fiery Cannonade into the graveyard. Okay. Down to 4 cards in the yard. Chooses not to mill. So it looks like he's passing. If he is, we're just going to draw. Which puts us to 3. Okay, there's a good chance that I mill whatever this is. An extra land. I've got one here. I think I'm going to graveyard it. Root Snare. We certainly have our fair share of dumpables. So I'm just going to pass. Literally keeping ahead on equal levels with our opponent. But I am going to discard to hand size, which will most certainly put us on even, it seems. Alright, go for it. I'm not going to waste a counter spell on a draw spell. Dumps a shock. Down to 6. So I'm at 5. I can go 6 with mission briefing. I couldn't actually flip my Ascanta this turn. If this flips. If this actually resolves. I'm going to try go for it. We can hit something like a lightning strike and things like that, so... There's the lightning strike. Guildgate. I could do better than a Guildgate. And then I could actually even anticipate. Let's see. Yeah, I can anticipate. Find a good card. Maybe a land to guarantee that we make our land drop this turn. Wow, this is going to take the counter spell from you? Or is this Chemist's Insight? Might get ionized. I am totally fine with you countering here, because that means Thousand Year Storm's going to stick. That being said, he does have Blink of an Eye in his main deck, so it might not stick permanently. Ah, he's going to copy Anticipate. Alright. Leaving up counter spells. Fair enough. I actually died to this card today. Not with this deck. Playing... What was I playing? I think I was trying to rebuild Reanimate and I got killed by Explosion. Because my opponent... guaranteed land or... Actually, Search is flipping, so I got a guaranteed land there. Yeah, I'm trying to rebuild Reanimator again. Graveyard. And he ended up making me draw like 20 cards, which didn't kill me, because I was on over 20 life and had over 20 cards in my deck. And then he hit me for 19 with another Explosion, which is was a thing that happened. It certainly was. Alright. Let's go... 7 cards. I really wish I could kill your stuff. He's also got a Field of Ruin as well, which we do not. So Ascanta is not going to live past this turn. I think that means I'm just going to pay 2 life for untapped mana. Should really do the math on that, but I think that means, yeah, I can hold up and counter spells. If he goes to the Field of Ruin here, which he should. You might also just get greedy by the looks of things and play Chemist's Insight. How greedy of you. Okay. Yep, go for it. Because he's going to be tapping mana on his turn, presumably, to take my Ascanta out, because he should be. It's what the card is there for. That being said, as long as I don't hover over it, it's possible he's forgotten it's even there. Which is great. Now he's remembered. Do we lose it? No, he doesn't seem to care. Alright. Certainly a mistake. Alright, I'm going to 1,000 Year Storm my opponent. In a singular fashion. Just to try and bait out a counter spell. Didn't work, it seems. Okay, I need 9 mana before I'm ready to go with 1,000 Year Storm. So we're a little off. I could go Circuitous Route, hold open a counter spell, or Ascanta. See if he wants to counter this. He doesn't. Okay. That's pretty good. Get some tap lands out of my deck. So we're good to go next turn. See if we can fade another Field of Ruin attack on my Ascanta. Dream Eater. Sure. Go for it. I just wish that I could win in response. Unfortunately not. We do have the win in hand, though. We have 1,000 Year Storm, which can hopefully stick. Brass's Bounty, that we can hopefully copy. And counter spells. And card draw. We have virtually everything we need. Down to 14. I'm guessing he's just gonna pass. Him properly using his Azcanta. There's a mission briefing. And his Field of Ruin as well. I mean, we all do it, you know, we all forget we have cards from time to time. Do I just keep going with the root so that I can have double counter spells? Because I imagine that's what his hand is full of. Yeah, I'm in no rush. Let's just ramp again. Make sure we can go off the turn that we get everything set up. Because he's holding for things that I am not prepared to use. Oh! Oh, the Field of Ruin, he hovered it! He's hovering the Field of Ruin! No, he's just adding colourless. For something. What is this greedy play of yours? Oh yeah, this thing has flash. I forgot about that. That's 8 damage. Sure, have it. Enjoy that. It's an interesting build of my opponent's. It's running Syncopates. Expansions are like a counterspell. Mission Briefing could hit a counterspell. You can hit a Syncopate, since you actually have to pay for the cast there. So we're taking 8 here. But then I get to go find loads of lovely stuff. I have a Brass's Bounty in my graveyard, right? I do. Okay. Just checking. Alright, no blocks. Do have to be aware of just dying to lightning strikes here, though. There's one. Here comes the other. This one we have to counter. And then we got a counter for either his counter or his other lightning strike. And we just have to hope that he doesn't have another. Judging by his tap, we should be all good as long as he's not mainboarding negates. If he has a negate, we lose. Oh, he's got it in there. Oh, God! Dang it! Oh, that's grim. That is grim. Alright, my opponent had it all. That's fair enough. Alright, well. Negates. Ionizes. Go down the pause for reflections. They're not going to be that useful. Let's see, what else do we want to go down? We're going to be pretty good in the second game, though. Anticipates can go down. We'll go down a Root Snare. We only need like 3 fogs for the stuff that he's got. Yeah, maybe I was a little greedy on the fog. I don't know. There's probably a way that I could have avoided the auto tapping down my green as well at one point. So that I could have used the fog. This hand isn't amazing. It's got all the lands I'd ever want, but that's it. Yeah, I'm going to mulligan it. This one's fine. This one's pretty good, actually. Bottom that land, we got 3 already. I want action. Opponent's gone down to 6. We were so close to winning. But, I mean, the fact that we waited was definitely correct because of the opponent's infinite counterspells when it actually came down to the loss there. it was very obvious that that 1,000-Year Storm was never going to resolve until much later when we could have both of our sabotages, so just an unfortunate situation, really. Extra land? Nah. We get to see 2 cards every turn, so, I mean, with 3 in hand already is gonna cover it. Alright. No time to use the Guildgate here, because I do want to hold up in this sabotage for whatever he might have here. Probably doesn't play anything, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Which, certainly were sorry last game. Negates on top, please. But yeah, it's going to be a very different matchup, I would say. Based on the fact that we have our Azcanta down and my opponent does not, and will never. So, we're both going to keep hitting our land drops, which is exactly what both of us want to be doing. See what we get here. I just want to fill up with counter spells. One card in the graveyard already? Extra land. Yeah. Ah, another search. Boo. Bad draw. Naughty. You weren't needed. Potentially, anyway. You could just blink of an eye my Azcanta and then it never resolves again. We'll see. Sure as hell shouldn't be doing it right now, though, opponent. You should be doing it on my end step if you plan it. On end step. Chemist's Insight. Okay. Don't counter the card draw unless your opponent has nothing in hand. Just counter the things he gets afterwards. Okay. Azcanta. Brass's Bounty into the graveyard. And there's our land drop for the turn. Very nice. Keep going. My opponent reading Brass's Bounty, wondering why the hell we're playing it. I don't think he's seen 1,000-Year Storm yet. I suppose it could maybe be implied. He's still running Cannonades. Mustn't have had enough to remove in sideboarding, I guess. Opponent's on 44 and we're on 46. He's drawn more cards than us. Azcanta is doing things a little slowly. That is perfectly fine. Get those out of the way before I have to do the math on them later. Okay, nothing to do here. I mean, our hand's not looking too amazing. It would be lovely if I could shape it up a wee bit. There we go, thank you. Ask and ye shall receive. We're at 4 cards in the graveyard now. We need 7. So, I mean, giving us something to counter just gets us closer to Azcanta, which is the inevitable issue that my opponent has to deal with. Keep that on top. And the longer he takes to deal with it, the more our hand just fills up with counter spells to stop him from being able to interact with it. Because honestly, right now, Search for Azcanta is kind of our win condition. Arclight Phoenix is something I think I'm going to counter because getting it back is going to be difficult for my opponent. I don't really want the 3 damage threat on board either. Yes, I'll take that. Since we put a card in the graveyard this turn, let's see if you can cast 2 more spells to get it back. Looks like he's not going to bother. Yeah. This kind of convinces me that my opponent's going to make suboptimal plays just to get a 3-2 back. And we do have ways of dealing with it. Okay, I'm going to pass. I'd rather have the opportunity to sabotage. I could root and negate, but I'm a little concerned that that won't be good enough for what my opponent follows up with. So I'd just rather wait for a land drop. So I can at least have the safety of a hard counter. 5. If I root snared, I would have 6 in my yard. Any mill flips as canter. Sure. Let's just waste this in order to get our as canter to flip next turn. Should the top card be bad? Well, I mean, it's better in our graveyard. And we get a negate. Alright, shouldn't have skipped through. Well, doesn't really matter if I did or not, but... We can root plus sabotage. And if he counters this, then we're all fine, which he didn't. But I would have been okay with it. Alright, pass the turn. Next turn I could always slap down as canter as well, to keep that milling going. Dump some of the fiery cannonade for his chemisters. Alright, so it's my opponent's opportunity here to force through whatever he wants. Because we only have one counter to back it up, and I'm sure he can double counter if he wants. Choosing not to. Alright. So I'm going to put down this other as counter. Tap some red, because I'm not actually using any. And now we can mill the top card, and we can as canter. I think we are in the winning position we've always wanted to be in. And no amount of surprise lightning strikes are going to get our opponent out of this one. Okay, as canter. Take an Ionize. Our hand is probably well more stacked than our opponent's. That's going to get graveyarded, and then we're going to decline the search. I think I still want to end step my Escanter. Despite having things that I could hit and play this turn, I think I'd rather just leave my million counter spells open. Okay. I don't know what my opponent's waiting for, because I know they've got plenty of castables. They're just waiting to enter a counter war with whatever we've got, I assume, which they're going to lose, because I can pull the trigger on any of these counter spells or my win condition whenever I want. Opponent doesn't really have that same luxury. Unless he's planning on Bane firing me. Ooh. That has not occurred to me. Let's take... I don't know. Do we take the root, or do we take the lightning strike? I've got lightning strike in my graveyard, so I don't need it all that much. I'm just going to take the root. Thin my deck and hopefully hit this 1000-Year Storm sometime this year. Mission briefing. Graveyard. It's nice, but it is not how I'm going to win this game. Okay, let's take some red, some blue. Pass it to you! Slowest magic game of all time. Let me count my opponent's mana, because I don't want to die to a Banefire. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. My opponent can 11 me. 12 me now with a Banefire. You are not allowed the same luxuries that I am. You are still not allowed the same luxuries I am. I'm going to fight over this, because the longer you fight over it, the less counterspells you have when I go for my win condition, which 29 cards, I should be hitting 1000-Year Storm anytime now. And I can counter again. This might be where the Syncopate comes. Yep. Okay. So let's sabotage, I think. And now if he counters, go for it. Yeah, okay. Opponent's expended all of his counter spells to get an Azcanta. We've tapped our opponent out. So if Azcanta or Azcanta hits Thousand Year Storm, it's resolving. He does get an Arc-like Phoenix, which is just fine. And is lethal Banefire as well. Graveyard that. Decline that. Oh, come on, Azcanta. Come on, Azcanta. Ah! Why are you like this? Take Chemisters. Tap land. And then I think I'll just strike this now. So that a counter war doesn't bring it back. Okay. Opponent finally getting his Azcanta. We've not hit our Thousand Year Storm. And that was our window of opportunity. Dream Eater. Let's see. I think I'll Chemisters first. Because ultimately I'm not that bothered if it resolves, but if I can Lightning Strike it, then that'd be good. So do I Ionize this? I think I do. I think he's out of counters. We still have a negate. Ah, he's got these mission briefings. Okay. Let's just hope he doesn't hit another Phoenix. Otherwise it's coming back. So negates our Ionize. Dream Eater can bounce our Search for Azcanta. That's one card off the top of our deck that we don't get to see. But it is a target for Chemist's Insight, so we've got that going for us, I suppose. Alright, come on. Come off it. Let's do this, please. This is the time. Show me Thousand Year Storm. There it is. Who's a good boy? Thousand Year Storm's a good boy. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Just make sure those are tapped. Because I have no use for green. I can only fight one card with this, but my opponent only has one card. There we go. Alright. You could always Dream Eater again, I suppose, to bounce Thousand Year Storm, which would be unfortunate, but I don't see that being too much of an issue. It's just a shame we can't negate and then Chemisters for double triggers. Just one mana short of that. Alright. Take the 4. Not much we can do about that. God, this game. This has been a game and a half. I've got to assume my opponent has Banefire somewhere in their deck. Yeah, I've got to let that go. I need this negate in order to push through whatever we need to do. And I need to hit, like, mission briefings in order to win as well. Mission briefing can target mission briefing, which can target Brass's bounty, which can win us the game. That's kind of the idea of how we're going to win this one. Trying to kill me, eh? I'll pass on that, thank you. I wish I could have drawn there, but there we go. We should win now, right? We can go, let's see, 4, 5, 6. Leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so I can Chemister's Briefing, target Briefing, Brass's Bounty. Let's do one. I'm going to tap all my green because I don't need my green. It is dead to me. And then one there, I guess. Oops, that's too much. Alright, Chemisters, discard Search. There's a Lightning Strike, so we should win this if I've done my math correctly. Which I have. It's hard not to. Brass's Bounty and Lightning Strike into the graveyard. Target Brass's Bounty. Dump those. Target Mission Briefing. Anti-Whiff Tech. Brass's Bounty. Gain a metric ton of triggers and treasures. Mission Briefing. Mill. Opponent's gonna see most of my deck now, but that should be fine because he's dead. Yep. Let's target that Lightning Strike. Yep. And he scoops it up. He sees the writing on the wall. Okay. That worked out a little better. As you can see, Search for Azcanta, the primary reason we won that game. It's pretty good. In the control mirror, it's usually the first person to get that down or the first person to get mana screwed. That's how it pretty much works out. And game 2, this deck is very much a control deck, as you can maybe tell with the several thousand counter spells. But that's what blue combo decks tend to do. They goldfish game 1 and then they turn into whatever deck they need to be on turn. And game 2, in this case, control mirror is the best way to go. Otherwise, if it's creature, we'd be wiping, we'd be fogging, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I don't think there's anything to change. I think that went about as perfectly as it possibly could. So, let's go. We've learnt our lesson from going too far down on life. We know our opponent's going to potentially explosion us to death as his possible Banefire. We know that counterspells are king. And this one we have a negate. Chemisters. It's just not controlling enough. But is it good enough? On the draw as well. It just relies too much on good top decks, I think, this hand. I'm not sure, though. I mean, we got one negate and our opponent's very slow. So, it gives us time. We should have plenty of time. But we can't counter the turn 2 Azcanta if he has it. The only counter for us would be to have our turn 2 Azcanta off the top as well. And just hope we can out-mill our opponent. Land go. Opponent with the superior islands, because I have yet to change mine. Steam Vents untapped. Oh, and there's the Azcanta. Well, we know that our opponent's untapping his mana for a negate, so I'm definitely not going to throw an Azcanta into the bin just for a counterspell. That would be silly. So let's have our non-shock land come into play untapped and pass the turn. No rush. He now has his Ionizers up, which is about as good as anything else. Alright. Pretty dead card. Has its uses, but ultimately not so much. Maybe I should probably take those out for anticipates. But if anything resolves, I kind of need it to not die. There's 1000 Year Storm. Okay, so I could Azcanta with negate backup. My opponent could have 2 counter spells though. He could have negate and syncopate X1s. Things like that would all work. How much do I want to push it? I suppose I could Chemister's Insight. Yeah. It's possibly playing a little bit too conservative. I think because my opponent's shocked on turn 2, it means he has a negate. It's whether or not he has negate plus something else. I can't help but feel that he probably does. Yeah, let's pass. Don't feel nice, but I think it's going to happen. Radical idea. Okay. So he mustn't have drawn that when the steam vents came into play untapped, because that would have been a fine choice. But then he has to have top decked 2 radical ideas, so I'm really not sure. Oh no, sorry, this was the one out of the graveyard. What am I talking about? That is the jump-started one. Okay. Land and pass, so we are going to insight, draw our own cards. If he counters, then we get our Azcanta down. Oh, no land drop. I think no land drop means that I should probably go for this Azcanta. Because it gets 2 cards out of my hand in a counter war. It could just go so horribly wrong for us, though. I do have Roots there to discard. And a Brass's Bounty. So I suppose it's not the end of the world having to discard 2 cards here. Just really wish I'd have hit my land drop. Lightning strikes our face. Yep. No, that's fine. Root Snare, Bounty. And then we're going to Insight again if we don't have to counter. It's a game of patience. Who can be more patient? I like to think I can. Ooh. See, Azcanta there is pretty good. Because I don't care if he counters it. Because I have the spare. And I have a counter open now. So I just let that go because I know he's got a negate. Or at least it was a bloody good bluff if he doesn't. Oh dear. Yeah, I'll let this one go. Five cards in the yard. So we haven't been playing our Azcanta, which hasn't been milling for us, but we've got 5 cards in the yard now, so it's not even that far off of flipping if we just play it later. But I'm sure it would have helped us hit a land drop sooner on the turn that we missed one. I'm just going to pass. That's Sinister Sabotage. Okay. Let's try and resolve this. Ionize. You can syncopate X2, so it really doesn't matter. I'm going to go with the more expensive, mana-efficient counterspell. See if my opponent has it. He has the syncopate, yeah. So didn't really matter which one we went with there. We're at 13. Opponent gets to do whatever he wants now. So maybe it was a terrible idea to go for that Azcanta. Got 3 cards. Yeah, he's just passing. So that's good for us. Okay, let's just pass as well. Then again. You see, there's a risk involved in going with Insight. Because I need to hit my land drop. It would be lovely if I did. And if I did, I would have Negate open. If I don't, though, I don't have a Negate open and my opponent gets to do whatever he wants next turn. Is that worth the missing land drop? It's not even guaranteed that this Insight can hit me a land, so I'm just going to end step it. Lightning Strike down to 10. Shot. Lightning Strike down to 7. Sure. Alright. Insight, dump bounty. There's never a good chance for us to actually just hardcast a bounty. Or maybe now, because my opponent has no cards in hand, but it's like, it's just so much of a risk. Opponent's going to 4 me with a chance to hit a Lightning Strike next turn. We hit 1,000 Year Storm. I can't afford to cast it though. I need the negate if he's going to try and kill me. He's got 5 cards in which to deal 3 damage. That's like really easy for my opponent. Searcherous Canter is not one of those though. Yeah, okay. Insight. I can't beat double burn spell anyway. So I'm not going to try. Just dump 1,000 Year Storm. There's Brass's bounty. 6 mana, 7 mana next turn. 5. I could do... If I could flip a Sinister Sabotage with Mission Briefing, that would cost me 4 blue. Yeah, if I could hit like Mission Briefing, Sinister Sabotage, I can double counter. That's so risky. Is what we've got to do though. It is what we've got to do. Pass and dump the extra Mission Briefing. Root Snare might stop a Phoenix that I don't have to look for a Mission Briefing on. Yeah. So, fog that. I have the negate for the negate. What's his last card? It is not a counter. Okay. Right, so... how the hell do we do this? This is going to be so sketchy. Do I Mission Briefing blindly, hitting nothing, so that Mission Briefing number 2 can do something? I don't know if that does enough. I'm going to pass. Lightning Strike is good. Lightning Strike is a death pin for Phoenix. And my opponent can't as counter for the counter spell. We know Mission Briefing now hits negate. Oh my god. My god. This is too close. This is too close. The As counter though I think is gonna win the game for my opponent though, because he's gonna be able to get above enough 3 damage worth of cards to kill us, I think. We can't just negate all 3 cards. This card has to be dead. This card has to hit something dead or his top deck caster. Ah, dear. So we got 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. I don't know if we can go off on the same turn. Let's do the math on this one. 7 gets us 8 mana, so we net 1 mana. 2, 4, 6, 8. Assume we draw 1 land next turn. I think we can win. If we don't die here. It all comes down to not dying right here. I think we can win next turn. He whiffed, didn't he? Oh, alright, that's as good as a dead card. So these two have to be dead cards. As Cantor. Come on, whiff again. Nope, it's not a whiff. It's an ionized. No! Okay, that's real bad. Field of Ruin. We can't win this turn now because he has the counter spell. Graveyard has nothing too amazing for us. It has negate. And that's pretty much the only thing I want to use my mission briefings on right now. Because I have the Brass's Bounty in hand. If I could get this to resolve, then it'd be all good, but I obviously cannot. 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I can't even... If he counters this anyway, we're in big trouble. Okay. The longer it takes for us to find an out to this, the worse it gets because of that as Cantor. There's the win in his hand. And a Shockland says to me that he has it. Okay, so mission briefing gets ionized. I wish one of those was a counter spell. It would have given me such hope. This mission briefing here has to hit another negate, or we're dead. And that has to not be another counter. It's another counter. We've lost. Alright, let's see if he's kind enough to let us see what we could have hit. We'd have whiffed. God, so close! No! Alright. Ah, dear. That was such a good game, though. Good game to you. Really enjoyed that. It's just a shame that we couldn't manage it. So the way that we were going to win on that one, I didn't fully do the math on it, but it was going to be Brass's Bounty to go mission briefing, Brass's Bounty, then Thousand Year Storm, use our other mission briefing to Brass's Bounty, and that would have doubled it up. And then maybe we could have done something from there with the doubled mission briefings. Wasn't meant to be though, but I hope you guys enjoyed that game all the same. It was so close, straight down to the wire. I absolutely loved it, so hopefully that comes across as well. It was a really good game. Anyway, guys, I do want to revisit this deck at some point in the future. I think it could do with a few improvements, as well as the matchups not being as amazing, I don't think, as maybe I would have hoped to get anyway. The first two games were a bit iffy anyway. I want a bit better quality than that on my matches, so I'm going to try for that in the future, see what I can do. Of course, I've been a little bit ill, so strapped for time and ill at the same time. It doesn't make for a great combination of content, but, you know, been doing with the best I can anyway, and I hope you guys aren't too upset about that. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that little bell icon. You know the drill, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.